Hello, beautiful pupil. Look at this cute little fruit bag that I just finished crocheting. Isn't it just adorable? If you would like to see how I made this fruit bags and possibly create one for yourself, just stay tuned and I'll show you. You just follow along. I already started it a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and frog it back so that we can do this together. Okay? So, personally, this is going to be my fruit holder for the most part. But yeah, this same yarn I used for this hat, or for most of this hat. But the yarn didn't come with, it was like extra yarn that I got at Michael's. So it didn't have the wrap, the label. So I don't exactly know what it is, what the brand is, or anything like that. I'm assuming the weight is like a 5 because it's not as big and thick as a 6, but it's not as thin as a 4. But I don't have enough of this to create a whole bag, even though it's going to be a mini bag. So I will be using another color to finish off the bag. And I'll just show you that later, okay? But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and frog this back, and then I'll show you how I create this bag. So stay tuned. Okay, let's begin by making your loop however you want to make it. And then we're going to go ahead and chain 16 plus 1. After you finish chaining your 17, go ahead and start working single crochets into one side of your chain until you get to the tail end. I'll come back when I get closer to the tail end. All right, now that we are at the tail end almost, we should have 16 single crochets on this side. And what we're going to do now is just turn our work over and start working on the other side of the chain. We'll work 16 single crochets onto the other side of the chain. Make sure you count your stitches as always. All right, here we're at one side of our chain. We have 16 on this side, and we're going to start on the other side. So we're going to, instead of us turning our work and just working on top of the stitches we just made, we're going to work on the other side of the chain. So we're going to put another one. There's already one stitch in there, but we're going to put another stitch in here to begin our chains on the other side of this. I mean, to begin our stitches on the other side of this chain. And we're going to work our tail into these chains, okay? So and then we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into the first stitch. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put a marker here. Marker. I'm going to go ahead and chain 1 and do 3. We'll do, 3 single crochets into the very first stitch. And start creating our corners. 2. All right. And then we'll just single crochet all the way to the next corner. Make sure you're grabbing the whole loop, not just part of the loop. I'll come back when I get to the corner. All right, we're at the next corner of our project. This is where it was the end of the last stitch, and it had 2 2 stitches in it. It was the end of the chain where the tail was at, and I put 2 stitches in there. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put 2 or 3 crochet into 1 stitch to this stitch. I'm going to increase 2 times in there. So I'm going to do 1 stitch. I have a hard time getting that in there. Make sure that you go through all of it. Okay. Oh my God, I'm having, what's going on? 2, 3. All right, so that's 3. And I forgot to do this at the other corner. I'm gonna put, so I'll put 3 stitches in here. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna put a marker at the second stitch of the 3 stitches. Okay, and then I'm gonna go to the next stitch, the very next stitch, and I'm gonna put 3 in that corner as well. So 1, 2, and 3. 3. I'm gonna go ahead and put 1, 2 in this corner. Now, normally I don't really need to do this, but this is just to help show like where we're going to be putting increases at again for the next set of corners when we come back around. So, because I did forget to put them at the other corners. All right, so 1, and then we're just going to do one stitch, 1 single crochet all the way down to we hit the next corner. All right, so see you there. All right, we're only a couple more stitches until we hit the next corner. And that corner, the next corner is going to be the stitch before we closed up, before we did the slip stitch. So that next corner is going to be right here. All right, so I'm going to put 3 here. 1, 2, and 3. All right, 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and put oops. Go ahead and put that in the middle stitch so you know where your next corner is. And then we're going to ignore this stitch because now it's time for us to close up. I'm going to go slip stitch here. And then if you didn't remember, we did 3 stitches here. So we're going to be doing slip stitch here. I'm going to put a marker there if you need it. It's up to you if you need it. Usually when I did this last time, I only needed a marker where I was closing up at so I can remember where to skip the stitch. All right, so these are the corners. This is where I just did the slip stitch. This is the corner. This is the very first corner that I created. This would be where I would be putting my next set of corners at. Okay, so this is the slip stitch marker, right? This is one of the corners. This was the last corner. This was the very first corner that we made after we did the first slip stitch. And then hopefully this looks clear to you. All right, this is how it looks now. Okay, I'm just putting markers at the corner so you can see like where you're supposed to put your markers at. But really, what like once you see the increases, that's where you're putting your next set of increases. You're putting them in the third. You're putting them in the second stitch of the increase. All right, so this is what it's looking like so far. Okay, and we're going to keep moving on. So I'm going to remove this marker. We already have our chain one. Yeah, we already have our chain one, so we're going to do 1 single crochet in this stitch. I'm going to do 3 single crochets in this stitch. 1, 2, and then 3. And then we're going to go ahead and put a marker. We'll skip this one, put a marker here for the corner so we don't forget where it's at next time. We're just going to single crochet until we get into the next corner. Going and coming up on our next corner, and next last one, and then we're going to do our increases into this corner. So 1, 2, and 3. Then again, we're going to put it back. Once you get used to it, you kind of already know what you're looking for, so you don't need the markers, but just in case. And then we're going to go ahead and do a single crochet for the next 2 stitches. And then we're going to increase for this next corner. So 1, 2, 3 to this corner. And then we're going to go ahead, put a marker there. Oops, wrong place. Marker here. And then a single crochet down into the next corner. Not gonna lie, I did not count any stitches. I don't know how many stitches I'm supposed to be at this point. I guess I could count them now, but coming up on our next increase. All right, so our next set of increases. We'll go 1, 2, and 3. And then go ahead and put the marker back where you know you got to increase later. And you do 1 single crochet right here before it's time to connect it with a slip stitch. Right, skip this one and slip stitch, slip stitch. And then where you slip stitch, you can go ahead and put a marker so you know where to slip stitch at. All right, so that's where the slip stitch is at. So slip stitch is in the middle currently. Okay, so we're at the corners. All right, we're just going to continue doing this until we get to the size that we want to get. So I think so far we've done, what, 3 rows? 1, 2, 3 rows, I believe. Cool. So do as many rows as you're happy with. Okay, and we are back. And I finished the bottom part of my little mini tote bag. One thing I have left right now is the lemons, so I use those as, you know, a gauge to see how big I wanted the bottom part of my bag to be. And I'm only gonna put like maybe 1 or 2 apples, so even if the apples end up being bigger than this, like when I take fruit home, I'll probably take 1 or 2 oranges, 1 or 2 apples, a few kiwis. So either way, it should still be able to fit into this bag, this little mini bag. Anyway, for the next steps, well, I could just take out all of these corner markers because we're not going to worry about the corners anymore. We're not going to be doing any more increases into the corners. So just go ahead and take those out. I'm going to keep the marker for like where I'm supposed to put, or where I'm supposed to slip stitch into to join, where I'm supposed to slip stitch to join. And we're just going to start. So for this next row, oh, by the way, I did about 6 rows, I believe. So this is the middle right here. Count out from there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's how many rows that I decided to do. You can do however many rows you want to do. It will be the same. So for the next row, I'm just gonna be working in the back loops only. And I am going to do, just so I can work up a little bit faster, I'm going to do half double crochets in the back loops only. This is the only row you're going to be doing. You're going to be working in the back loops, and then after that, you'll just be working in you'll just be working like a regular stitch. So a regular half double crochet stitch. This is you're working in the back loops just to get the bag to start going, to start folding and creating the body. Then after that, you just can work in the full loops, I guess. All right, we're done with that row. That back loops, half double crochet in the back loops row. You'll know you did it right because you'll see that line where the loop that you didn't crochet into is left out. And as long as you see that, then you did it right. Hopefully you can see that. That line I'm talking about, but it's pretty obvious. All right, I'm going to do another row of just regular half double crochet, and then I think I might change the color and the pattern. So we're just going to do regular half double crochet now. Okay, so we're at the point where I want to change colors, and I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch to close this up real quick, like so. And then I'm going to get my next yarn, my color. So I don't have another yarn that I want to use that's this same weight. So I'm just going to go ahead and put 2 colors together. Now originally I was just going to do black, and then I only have one of these skeins, so I was just going to just use the ends of both ends and put them together. But I figured, why be boring? I want to put 2 different colors together, so I have this one from Loopin' Threads. I don't know the color. Did I see the color? And this one from Loopin' Threads. I don't remember where. So I'm just gonna put them together just to kind of match the same thickness of the yarn I was originally working with. Let's see. Kind of matches it. Sure. Anyway, put 2 colors together. See how this looks. And then we're gonna change, instead of just doing half double crochet, I'm going to do half double crochet and slip stitch, and that's, I'm just going to keep interchanging between those 2 and see what that design comes out looking like. me and changing colors. All right. Oops. So I put the color in, put the two yarns in, and then I'm going to tighten the old color. Sorry, there's a whole bunch of moving around. Trying to get the tails back. Actually, I want the tails to be a little bit longer because you have to work it in real quick. Make sure that you don't accidentally. And then you're going to do a chain, one chain. Once again, tighten this yarn. Make sure it's not sticking up. And then we are going to skip the stitch that you just slip stitch into it. And then you're just going to slip stitch into the next one. And then you're going to double crochet, half double crochet into the next one. And then slip stitch into the next one. And then half double crochet into the next one. And we're just going to keep doing that over and over. Slip stitch, half double crochet. And I am working the tails in. And oops. This is why I crochet, because it makes me have to pay attention. So if I'm overthinking, ruminating or something, this is definitely a good way for me to stop. All right, let me pull this out real quick and just tighten this part, tighten these tails in so that pull it on. All right, anyway, and then we just keep going. I'll cut that off later. So that was the half double crochet, and then I'm going to slip stitch and half double crochet and slip stitch, and that's it. I'm just going to keep going just like that, and then I'll meet you at the end. Okay, I have finished the first round of my half double crochet slip stitch combo, and we're gonna go ahead and close it with a slip stitch. Pause. Here's where I realized I made a mistake. See that little gap right there? I should have made sure to put a stitch there before joining. Since I skip a stitch in the beginning of the row, I can't skip a stitch at the end of the row, or I'm going to lose a stitch for every row. And that's the mistake that I made. So don't make my mistake. In the beginning of the row, you're going to skip a stitch. So at the end, you make sure to go to the very last stitch before you join. Okay? All right. Let's keep going. Or join it. I'm sorry. Join it with a slip stitch. So join with a slip stitch, and then chain one, and then turn your work. So every time you join with a slip stitch, you're going to turn your work, and then you're not going to work into the first one. You're not going to work into the stitch that you just slip stitch into. You're going to work into the next stitch. Okay. So since the next stitch is actually the slip stitch, you're going to work a half double crochet into that stitch. So if you happen to end off with a half double crochet, then you'll start off with a slip stitch. If you ended off with a slip stitch, then you'll start off with a half double crochet. All right. Now you're gonna slip stitch into this one, half double crochet into this one. All right. So I will see you when I am done with the body. But I'm done with this color, basically. All right. Hello. So we are back, and this is about as deep as I'm going to make my little fruit bag, for lunch at work. Because since I'm only going to be putting like oranges and apples, plums, kiwis in here, I don't really feel the need to make it that big and deep. So I think I'm going to start making the handles. And I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the original. So I'm going to switch back to the bottom color just to put it back in there, I guess. This really came out so cute. I don't know. Again, I don't know if you can see. Hopefully, you can see the texture. I wonder if I put it to the side. Can you see the texture? See it? I don't know. But this part right here is so cute to me. But I'm going to go ahead and put the bottom part on the top because I don't know why not. I'm trying to get rid of the yarn, so I'm going to go ahead and do it that way. And I'm going to try and make sure that you're able to see. Alright, make sure you pull this part tight. And then we're going to chain one. Hopefully I'm in the middle. Chain one. And we're just going to do half double crochet. Just regular half double crochets. I'm not going to do any. I'm not going to do the half and then the slip stitch. Just half double crochets all the way around for this one at first. Alright, and once you do that, just come back. Well, once I finish doing this, I will come back. And then I'll go ahead and explain what I'm going to do, or what I plan on doing. Okay? I'm done barking? I'm good? Alright. What? Sweetness. Sweet. Alright. Okay. Alright, big baby. Go over there. Thank you. Anyway, so I finished my row for color change, just one row of regular half double crochet, and I am going to measure out where I want my handles to be. So I'm just going to squeeze the ends together, or squeeze the top together, and then put my hand like right here, like right where I think the middle is going to be. And I'm going to go a little bit outside that, so I guess I'll go right here. And then right here. And then right here. And right here. Okay. Can you see that? There you go. So I'm just using my hand as a way to measure about how much I think I'm going to need for my handles. And then when I come around, I'm going to do another set of half double crochet. And when I get to the markers, I'm going to half double crochet into the marker, and then I'm going to do just a chain until I reach back to this marker. So I'll be chaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then I'll be going into there. Okay, is this the same number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think it's off by like 1, right? I think this one's off by 1, so I'll put this over here. Alright? And that's how I'm going to do. Okay? So I will show you that. I'll show you, I guess, when I get to at least one of these markers, what I'm going to do. Bye. Okay, the audio was kind of messed up on this part, so I'm going to go ahead and do a voiceover. So for this part, we're going to half double crochet until we get to the first marker. When we get to the first marker, we're going to chain 13 and then connect to the second marker with a slip stitch. And then we're going to half double crochet to the next marker
And we're going to chain 13 again and connect to the last marker with a slip stitch, and then continue to half double crochet till we get to the end. Then join with a slip stitch. All right. You should be able to see it on a video. All right. Thank you. Bye.
All right, so I had to switch cameras real quick. The other one's charging. So we're back to this one. So I've created both of my handles. Now we're gonna go through and make them a little bit thicker. But I mean, the only thing we're really gonna do is have double crochet into the handles. So I will come back once I get to a handle so you can see what I'm going to do. Oh, I just realized you couldn't even see. Look at that. Anyway, be back. Okay, so we're at the chains now. So what we're gonna do when you get to these chains, you want to make sure that the V's, that the V of the chain is sticking up. So when you connect them, make sure that it's not twisting or anything, but make sure it's sticking up, and we're going to try to crochet into the back loops of the chain. Try to single crochet into the back loops of the chain. So it's probably going to take you a little bit longer. Back bumps, I mean, you're going to try to crochet in the back bumps, not back loops. So what you're trying to do, I don't know if you can see it on here, is you're trying to crochet into like these areas so that you'll be into the V. Okay. This little bump right here, trying to get into that area. Once you do this once and like get through all of them, then you won't have to worry about you know, doing it again. But just make sure you're in the back bump. And the fact that this is a thicker yarn is going to make this a little bit harder to keep getting caught on it. Okay, so hopefully you're able to see that. So also, I guess I should say that probably make sure your chains are looser than mine are, because it's probably also the other reason why I'm having such a hard time getting through. But I'm gonna go ahead and push it through. Come on. But once we get past this part, it should be easy. Use the hook part to try to get into those areas a little bit better. Oops. All right, here we are so far. This bag is coming out cute. It's cute. All right, at least to me it is. I don't know about everybody else. I think, but I want to make this part thicker, so probably another row of half double crochet, maybe another row or two. This is what we want. My little fruit bag. All right, here we are. I think that I'm good with just 2 rows of half double crochet for the handles. I think this looks fine. But I do want to put a little border across the top, and I'm going to go ahead and change colors back to the black and maroon colored type yarn. So I will change colors real quick and then go ahead and make the border, and I'll show you how I do that. So we're just gonna slip stitch. So slip stitch, slip stitch, and then chain 1, and then slip stitch, and then chain 1, and then slip stitch, and then chain 1. All right, so hopefully you're able to see pretty good. So slip stitch. I am working a chain. Oh wait, I am working a tail into chain 1. I am working a tail into this border. So slip stitch, and then chain 1. Slip stitch, chain 1. Yes, that's all we're doing the whole entire time. Oops. Slip stitch, and then chain 1. All right. Make sure you can see. So we're, just in case, I'm gonna slip stitch. So that's yarn over, pull through, and then pull through. Right, and then chain 1. And that's it. That's all you're doing the whole entire time. And then you can speed it up whenever you get comfortable. All right, when I get back, I will show you the finished product, because after I do this, I'm just going to sew everything in. Sew all the yarn tails in, and I'll be done. All right, I'll see you in a few.